Yes, hello again, everybody, and welcome to WrestleLine. I'm your host, John Scott, joined as always by my co-host, the one and only Spoken Matt. Matt, how you doing this week? We haven't done a live podcast, a podcast in general, for a little while now, but here we are. We're talking all things from last night's WWE Raw only pay-per-view, and we'll be talking about the idea that now they're bringing back the joint pay-per-views. We'll discuss that a little bit later on, but we're going to be discussing the Elimination Chamber. Just going to kind of summarise it. The reason I thought we wouldn't do a full review is basically I didn't want to come across like, oh, they did a Raw one but not a SmackDown one, because we're not going to probably be around for the next one anyway. So I thought, we'll just talk about it, hit all the matches. There wasn't that many anyway in the end, so I think that'll be quite easy to get through. Plus some news, this news about, of course, Roman Reigns very much in the spotlight, not only for last night but also off the WWE and these kind of accusations going on around him. We're going to discuss that a little bit further. Plus all things for Raw tonight, where we go from here, and we'll just touch on about SmackDown, and also we'll be letting you guys know all our future plans, especially for the WrestleMania week. But Matt, let's bring you in here. How have you been? We're in the UK here, and we're expecting what are they calling it? The Beast from the East coming in now. When we say that in the UK, of course, any slight bit of snow gets kind of full coverage. It becomes a huge national affair. There is no other news because it's all about the weather. But I'm sure wherever you are listening around the world, you've probably got much more bigger problems than just this, what's happening with us. This just doesn't happen to us that often. Yeah, Matt, how are you? You're probably a little bit. Are you cold your end? You've been keeping out of the cold, or are you okay?
Yeah, well, as you know, where we work, it can get pretty chilly. So yeah, it's been a bit of a chilly one there today.
I forgot about that.
Out into the open, I was like, "Oh, that's a bit fresh out here."
Yeah, definitely. So Matt, last night, of course, we'll run down the matches, what we got. Of course, the first, well, how many times did we hear this? I knew we were going to hear it a lot, but the first ever all-women Elimination Chamber match. And, listen, right off the bat, I'm going to say this much, Matt. I think that most of what happened last night, I fully expected the results-wise. I'm going to say that much before we even talk about anything else. I think everything that happened last night for me, Matt, is exactly what I thought would happen. Were there did that change in your mindset, or was that the same with you as well? That was my experience of last night, really.
Yeah, I can't say there was one thing that surprised me throughout the night. It's quite bad. I mean, I was hoping for something there, at least a little surprise.
What was your takeaway of the first ever women's Elimination Chamber? Because I thought there were some good moments. I thought they'd done a very good match. I think it was probably, the crowd was really into it. Like, I felt like of the whole night, I felt that was the match that the crowd was mostly into. And of course, I liked the Sasha part, Matt, where she turned. But I just wish they'd capitalise that a little bit more and have gone the full hog. But hopefully that seeds are planted. I don't know. But for you, Matt, the actual match quality, of course, being all females, how was that for you? And from my point of view, I think they told a very good story. But at the same time, did I know Alexa was going to probably be coming out? Yes. And that's the only thing that kind of, sort of put a dampener on it from my perspective. But for you, Matt, how good was it for a first ever? And, are we going to be talking about this in years to come?
Yeah, I think it was a great chamber match, and I really enjoyed this. I think it was one of the better matches of the night, and there's no doubt in anyone's mind now that these women can all go in that ring. We've even seen some of the newer talent in there, like Sonya Deville. She looks made for this kind of environment. Had no trouble adapting to the main roster, and I think she's going to do very well.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them from Absolution. I thought they both gave a good account. Of course, Mickie James got the kind of high spot moment, I guess, of the match. So I felt like they'd done, they gave enough to each person. Like each person come out with something. The only thing I was a little bit kind of like peeved with was the announcers kind of like, was it me, Matt, or did they sound like they was so like putting Bailey down for way too much, and then like tried to build her up again at the end? I was like, man, stop talking about her like this. It just seemed like doing an awful job. For you, Matt, of course, that after the match, Alexa Bliss obviously winning the match, but she cut that promo and everybody was getting a little bit sucked in, all the emotion, and then she done the usual heel turn in mid-flow, done it very well. But Alexa Bliss, Matt, I mean, is she as good as she proclaims? And is she going to be a household name here? Because some people don't know whether to take her too serious, whether she is that good. But she's going in essentially now to WrestleMania, so there's got to be something about her. But of all the females we've got, you could say that any one of them could be in that spot. But is she? What I'm saying is, I think if you look at Charlotte, okay, you probably put her above the rest in some way. But then the divide from there gets very sticky because you'd say they're all very equal. But Alexa Bliss, does she get a little bit more of a little bit of like making a little bit of distance between herself and the others now, do you think, with this one?
I think she's definitely cementing her own legacy in her own right here. The amount of times that she's holding that title and the amount of accolades she's racking up, like holding both the women's titles and now winning the first women's elimination chamber. She's definitely putting her name in the history books. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of favouritism towards her from certain people within the company. She seems like Vince's type,
Right, yeah.
That kind of woman. She's a bit like Trish Stratus, I guess if she went up a cup size, then Vince would just be like, wow, that's the one.
Yeah.
I think it would be a shame just to base her on that, because she has got a lot of skills in that ring, and even from when she was down on NXT, it was apparent that she was going to be going places. So I think she's definitely deserving of where she is. I think that it's so tight at the top now, so much competition that you really got to work your ass off to be better than the next women that are coming along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, I think it was a really good match. It's a shame that this match didn't happen further down the year, because this could have been something. I know because they call it the Elimination Chamber, means you've got to have the chamber on that night. But I actually think they should do away with this Elimination Chamber in this position of the year, Matt. I just think it's just. There's nothing to do there now. Like, there was a purpose like 1 year when they brought this in, but since then it's just there because it's there. It doesn't necessarily make any sense whatsoever sometimes, and I think now they're just doing it for the sake of it. And I think this pay-per-view, I've got to be honest, if this was a full pay-per-view, and by the way, this was like, people could buy this on Sky Box Office and I'm sure various other pay-per-view channels. Like, you're billing this at like £16. This is crazy. I don't think, okay, if it's a WWE Network thing, fair enough, you're going to get that included. I'm not so bothered then, and I know that the SmackDown one works like that, but this was like, you could literally pay for this, and I was thinking, this is very, very short of the mark of pay-per-view quality I mean, I'm not taking anything away from both the chamber matches, but in terms of what was on the line, what was at stake, I think it was kind of very meaningless. So, really no point having it for me. There wasn't a sort of match that was designed to just be like, a complete, big attraction for that one night. And, I know we got a lot of emails about this as well. Like, somebody asked me, they said, like, really and truly, has there ever been a very good pay-per-view between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania? And I had to go back and really think, Matt, and I had to look through everything. Of course, that's a long one. But, I went back as far and I thought about it, because only we're going to be covering WrestleMania 19 on WrestleMania week. And actually, Matt, if you remember that No Way Out, before that, the card for that was stacked to the rafters. I mean, that was actually a very good card. That had Hogan versus Rock too. So that was a big like kind of rematch from WrestleMania 18. You had now, okay, maybe Steiner and Triple H too wasn't exactly brilliant, but you also had the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin that night up against Bischoff, which was like a big deal for him coming back. You had Lesnar and Benoit against Team Angle 3. You had The Undertaker and Big Show. Like, it just seemed like there was so much more on that than what we got last night, and actual matches that are going to be like memorable, like Rock and Hogan too. Whereas these ones we've been getting lately, I'm just thinking these pay-per-views either do away with them or have it where there is actually something, you know, on the line. I know that they think that they're gonna shock us, or maybe they think we haven't read enough into it. But man, it's so predictable last night, and even down to this tag match, Matt. I want to move on to that now because that, of course, was thrown on sort of last second, I guess. But even that, I thought, wow, will they throw us a curveball in this? Nope. No. So back to the drawing board on that. I mean, again, I've got nothing against Cesaro and Sheamus. Of course, I love both of them. But for me, Matt, it's something, they're not getting the best matches for me. They're not. I don't know, there's something missing with the whole tag thing in general. But for you, Matt, that match, did it do anything for you other than, you know, it was a solid match, I'm not going to deny that, but nothing, the result was, you know, as to be expected, I guess.
Yeah, you know, it was going to be hard to actually review this one because nothing to base it on from prior. So, but I mean, the women did a great job, you know, and there's no denying that. I mean, I did like that match, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was a winner on my books, and I will say, like, for like giving away too much to what the review might hold, it was my favourite match of the night.
Right, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, we get past, and then of course we have another the Matt Hardy. Bray Wyatt match, Matt. I mean, yeah, fans were. The thing is with the fans, Matt, in this match, they were chanting all sorts of things. You had Rusev Day chants, then you had the beach ball came out, and then they all booed when it got thrown away during this match. I felt like they were kind of crapping over it a bit, but at the same time, we've seen this match so many times. They're a paying audience of a pay-per-view show, you know. But for you, Matt, obviously, I think we both agree the right result, but surely not much point to all this. And also, do you feel like, I know that every time we're talking about this situation, you know, we started so kind of upbeat when we knew this gimmick was coming back, but I feel a little bit sort of exhausted now. I feel like I don't, you know, I should be wanting to see more, but I kind of don't want to see more because it's just becoming very monotonous. It's very much nothing new coming along here with this whole. You know, I want to know more about the character. For people that maybe didn't watch TNA, they're just watching the same thing every week here. There's no progression, it seems. What did you make of this match, Matt, and the outcome of it? And surely does this tell you this is the end now? Please.
Well, you got to hope it's the end. I mean, but it won't be the end, will it? Because we've seen on Raw 25 Bray got the win, and now Matt got the win.
Oh no, so, we're not going. Are you insinuating we may get this at WrestleMania?
I am feeling like that way. I mean, I just hope that they do something to spice it up. I mean, hopefully Jeff's going to get into the fold. Some more angles to play off of that. But, you know, I just think this is done, you know. They've spent more time trying to show us what these guys can do in the ring than building up outside of the ring. And that's where Matt Hardy's character shines.
That's where the money is. That's the whole thing of the broken gimmick in TNA was the stuff he was doing outside. I mean, if there's ever a time to do the House of Horrors match, Matt, it's this one.
Definitely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give Matt Hardy some creative freedom, give Bray some creative freedom, and let them come up with something, you know, and send the tape in, you know. But yeah, was what it was. Right result, but then again, probably means we've got to get a rubber match. Man, if it's at WrestleMania, I mean, it's not the one I would have wanted to see Matt Hardy against. I think he should have been moved on by now, but I suppose it's better than nothing. But it's, you know, you think about it, Matt, 1 year on, they come back with such a huge pop all that expectation. I feel like a year later they've completely deflated all that boom period now, and typical WWE really in a lot of ways when they do that. Okay, so moving on, we've got we had of course Asuka, Matt, as well, against Nia Jax. Again, this for me, I just sense that we're going through the motions. I did feel that she did a good job. I mean, she sold very well for Nia Jax. I felt like